All right. Well, last night I went to bed probably, I don't know, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, I don't know. Anyway, I was laying in bed and I turn on a movie or something. I just go to the movie channel, search for the guide, and I turn on the TV and this movie that I've never heard of before was on, and it was called The Truth About Charlie. And I could barely even sleep last night. I wanted to watch it, but I had to work in like 3 hours. But anyway, all I could think about was the Charlie Hedbo thing and the truth about Charlie. And I don't think anybody's talked about this movie. I don't know. It was just a fluke that it was on. But it stars Mark Wahlberg, who will be 44 this year. Let's click on him here. Yeah, he was born in 71. He'll be 44 on June 5th this year. And June 5th is also the 157th day of the year, and 157 is the 37th prime number. What's even more interesting, I'm not going to go really in depth with all the characters and that. I'm going to try to make this halfway short. But, okay, so I noticed he was wearing a beret when I turned the movie on. There was about a half hour left or so in the movie, and Mark Wahlberg was wearing a beret. And that's because the movie takes place in Paris. Of all places, and for this movie to take place, and it's called The Truth About Charlie. Basically, this whole movie is about this lady's husband who gets murdered in the very beginning on a train, and his name's Charlie. And it goes through this big old thing. It's just a big old conspiracy. You can't figure out who's who and who's behind what. Just like, all these fake shootings and whatnot that they do. These false flag things or whatever. Anyway, yeah, so her husband gets shot and killed, but he has these diamonds, and she's supposed to have them, and these other people are trying to go after her to figure out where the diamonds are, but she doesn't know. And then Mark Wahlberg is he plays like 3 different characters throughout the movie, and you never know who he is until the very end. But anyway, there's some interesting things I wanted to show you here. And right here she finds out her husband's like a secret op guy or whatever. When they're at I think it's the police station. They bring her in, but it says that his passport was issued on March 8th, and March 18th is the 77th day of the year. It also, I think it says December 22nd here, but it mentions he must have came from San Francisco. And the Super Bowl's coming up, Super Bowl 49, the 49ers. Charlie Hedbo happened, on January 7th? And this is just unbelievable here. I didn't tell you, this movie came out in 2002. So, it's not even a recent movie. Came out October 25th, 2002. And it was actually based on it's a remake of the film Charade. So, The Truth About Charlie, and then Charade. So they completely changed the name even. But anyway, look at this here. She stands up, and so she's right here, and it has like a map on this little thing here. And it says Bastille 11 ARR. The Charlie Hedbo is literally like right here on a map. And I'll pull up a map and prove it to you. Okay, it's on Goops here. Here, Bastille, and there's 11th ARR and the Voltaire Road. And then here is where Charlie Hedbo was. So, I know this isn't the grid here, but it totally is right there. So, 11th ARR, Charlie Hedbo's Bastille, and it's a 8-minute. So let's go back to the movie here. My computer's going super slow. So you got Bastille, 11 ARR. Right here is Voltaire. So that means Hedbo is like somewhere right here. Are you kidding me? That they would even put that? What are the odds that that's even in this movie? On any scene in this movie. That blows me away. Especially on the part where his wife just finds out that he was murdered, and she's at the police station right here, and then the map right behind her basically shows the location. It's just crazy. All right, just want to show it one more time here. There's Bastille. There's 11 ARR. And if you go to Google Maps, you got Bastille, 11th ARR, Charlie Hedbo. Also, another thing I found kind of interesting was that when Mark Wahlberg, he's basically an undercover agent guy for the U.S., something Bartholomew, but the name that he tells this girl, his name is Joshua Peters, and so she was married to Charlie, and then she falls in love with this guy, and at the end they make out or whatever, but so she falls in love with this guy, and she was married to Charlie. And then you got Jesus, Charlie, or whatever, right? Jesus and Charlie. And his name is Joshua Peters. Joshua for Jesus, and then Peters for Simon Peter, the first pope. I don't know. I think they did that on purpose. And there's even a part where he's like working with these other guys too, and the one guy says, he says, "You're all high and mighty. You think you're God's gift to us," or something. I can't remember the exact wording, but it was really interesting when he said that because it made total sense to what I was thinking. It was something about, you think you're all high and mighty like you're God's gift to us. And right here is basically how he kind of like woos the girl or whatever. He asks her if she's ever heard of Asnavar. And I mean, this is really one of the only name drop kind of things they do in the whole movie. And they make it really significant because at the very end, this guy pops up and starts singing. And so he's like a significant part. But anyway, she says, yeah, shoot the... Hold on 1 second, I got to remember it. She says she knows him from Shoot the Piano Player. And that's a movie that he was in. And here is Shoot the Piano Player, and it stars the guy that was singing, but it was based on the novel Down There by David Goodis. And David Goodis was born on March 2nd, 1917, and he died on January 7th, 1967, at the age of 49. And like I said, it's just close to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 49. He died at 49. The very first Super Bowl was in 1967, and January 7th was the day of the Charlie Hebdo shooting. So Charlie Hebdo happened exactly 48 years after this guy died. So the lady's husband Charlie, had $46 million worth of diamonds, and she also stayed in hotel number 46. But he left a notebook thing with some clues as to like where they were or something, and it said something about noon, and then like section 8 of some part of the flea market. So there was an 8 reference. Also later on towards the end of the movie, she has these valuable stamps, and like she says something about it's one of 8 left in the world or whatever. I don't know. And in the very beginning of the movie, they have it shows a diagram with diamond sizes, and it must show like the diamonds that he has or whatever. And I just thought it was interesting because the two listed on top of each other here, it says 11.1 millimeters, 5 carats, 8.8 millimeters, 2.5. Well, if it September 11th is 111 days until the end of the year, which is the day Jesus was actually born. And then the 88th day of the year was when he was crucified. And they got them like on top of each other here. I don't know. That could be nothing, but I mean, I think they probably did that for a reason on here, but just wanted to point that out, I guess. Also, it has the MMs, like the MM Jam, so just stuck out to me, I guess. Alright, well, I kind of skimmed through this movie pretty fast. There's probably other stuff in there that I'd missed. I did it really fast, like I said, but here's this guy. That's why I said he's like special, because they even have him singing at the very end. And they mention him more than once, actually, in the movie. And there's also other parts where when it gets really crazy and she doesn't know who's who or whatever, she says, it's starting to get illuminating. Like, why would they say illuminating? I mean, you think they could, I don't know, I just don't hear that phrase very often, I guess, when something gets difficult or confusing. I don't say it's illuminating. But anyway, that's all I'm going to show. Crazy, they have the map of Charlie Hedbo in this movie, and it's called The Truth About Charlie. So anyway, check out the movie. See what you guys can find. It'd be awesome. But have a great night.